there, Jammers. This is Ryan Bound from the University of Utah. In this video, we're going to look at how to export or save your work so you can get it into your game. First, let's look at an overview. We're going to talk about naming, we're going to talk about size of files, and then the most popular formats, PNG, JPEG, and PSD. First, naming. What to do. Keep them simple and short. So in the previous videos, I made a character named Alma, and she had a couple of idle animations. So the name of that file would be alma_idle01. 01 would indicate that it's part of a sequence. 2, you want to be descriptive. The above file name would let somebody else on the team know what that file is. You also want to use either camel case or underscores. Okay? I prefer underscores to camel case because sometimes, depending on the font, it can be somewhat difficult to read what the file is at a glance. Such as here, capital I's and lowercase l's look very similar. I personally feel underscore is easier to read. What not to do. Overly long descriptive text, such as super awesome animation, red hair, arms down stuff. Okay, it's way overboard, way too much. It's unnecessary. Random text. Sometimes when you're creating a file, you'll just type a bunch of random letters on the keyboard, such as you can see in the example. It means nothing. You're not going to remember what it is. Your teammates aren't going to know what it is unless they have to open it up. It's a waste of time. Spaces. When you're naming files, avoid having spaces in them. Engines typically do not like this. Same with hyphens. Sometimes in some engines, hyphens will actually call out a command. So I would just avoid using hyphens altogether. Size. As we talked about in the tile set and sprite video, size, you should be working in a power of 2. And if you want your textures to tile, they need to be square unless they're just trim textures. File types, the most popular. PNG has an alpha channel option, so if you want to have a transparent or translucent background, you have that option. It is also a lossless compression format, which means you're going to keep really, really good quality. JPEG, kind of like the 2D universal format. It has no alpha channel, it's a lossless compression format, but what you get in return is smaller file size. So if you're low on memory or just want a smaller footprint for your full game, maybe JPEG works for some things. PSD or Photoshop file. I think this is a great file format to save your animations or anything that has layers on them. Make sure that you save a master document as a PSD so you maintain your layers. Let's just jump into Photoshop real quick and I'll show you where those things are. So here is my animations that I set up in the previous video. And I have all these different layers so I can animate her wings, her arms, and her head, and her body independently, okay? So I want to make sure I save a master copy of this somewhere. So I'm going to go to File, I'm going to Save As, and I'm going to save this as a Photoshop or a PSD, and that's going to keep my layers, okay? Make sure you have that checked. Now, if I just want to save out these individual layers, idle 1, idle 2, 3, and 4, all I need to do is just select this layer, File, Save As, and if I don't want a alpha channel, I can save it as a JPEG, and then I would name this Alma Idle 001 JPEG, okay? Chances are on the animation, I want to be able to see the background through this, right? So I need to be able to get rid of the background. Okay. I'll change the tolerance on that. Okay, so now if you can see this little checkerboard, that means this is translucent, okay? because I want the other images when she's walking around or standing there to show through. So I want to save this as a PNG. File, save as, and I'm going to come down here to PNG. I'm going to come here, underscore, idle 01. Okay. It's important to put a frame buffer there, so that way if there's more than 100 frames, I would give it a padding of 2 zeros like this. And that way it would open in sequence if it wasn't in a sprite sheet. Okay. And then I just hit save. And there you go. Okay, so jammers, I hope that this video was helpful to get your stuff that you've spent a lot of time working to get ready to put into the engine. And whether or not, again, you're working with a team or just on a project by yourself, it's important to take the time to stay organized. So that way when you come back, you know what you've made and what things are. Again, I hope this is helpful for you. Can't wait to see what you make at your next game jam.